Let's shoot some B-roll. What's up, beautiful people? TJ here with another episode of What the F Stop. If you like these types of videos, please like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Also hit the bell icon so you can get notifications whenever I release new videos. Today's video is going to be about shooting some B-roll. So recently, since I've upgraded some of my gear, I've been able to kind of step up my B-roll game, especially when I'm doing like product shoots and different things like that. So there's a few key elements that I have, or a few key things that I've purchased to create this these B-roll sequences. So if you want to make something that looks something like this, all right, so first I'm going to just give you kind of an overall overview of what I normally do when I'm shooting like these types of B-roll sequences. So if I get a piece of gear, or if I get something that I'm going to do a review on, or initial review on, or unboxing, something like that, and I want to get this B-roll, I think about what that actual product is. So I'll look at the product and I'll say, okay, what kind of music will go with this? So normally I choose my music first. So when I go in and I shoot my shots, I kind of know what I'm looking for. I can visualize like the speed ramps and the pans and the tilts and everything that I need to do based on the music that I'm going to use when I'm shooting the video. All right, so I've been really into like really dark lit blacks and various colors all around. So I've been investing in these RGB lights. So this is one of them. This is the Young Gno. I'll put a link to it in the description section below because I don't know what it is. But so this right here is a really cool feature to have. It's RGB. You can change to all the different colors. You can also do two different spectrums of white. So you can do daylight, or you can do like a tungsten color. So purchase two of these because, you know, look at that. That right there is pretty cool, right? Except it's kind of bright. But all right, the next thing I did was I got some RGB bulbs for my ceiling. So if you can see, you can't see my ceiling right now, but in my ceiling I have two lights right here that I can change the RGB color of, and it kind of gives the room a different tone. So if it's going to be a red tone, I can have a red tone room. If it, you know, if I want to be like blue, like right now it's like a blue kind of purple kind of tone, and I can make my ceiling lights match that. Also, I have the Philips Hue lights, and I have those. Actually, I'm gonna turn this around so you can see it. I've got these Philips Hue lights, and that kind of gives a background to my computer in my desk area, so you can do it. Now, these Philips Hue lights are pretty expensive, and those RGB lights, the Light Sabers, they're pretty expensive too. I said all that to say, you don't necessarily need all this stuff to make these really cool B-roll sequences, because I made them before. These are just things that I've used to enhance. And then also, I'm going to be shooting on my Sony A6400. I have a low light picture profile that I use. I can leave a link to how to set that up in the description section as well. And I'm also using a motorized slider. So I bought a regular slider before in life, and it's not motorized and you can't get smooth movement. So I bought this motorized one because it not only does it pan, but it also whatever that is, what is that? Swivels. It swivels as it moves. So you can kind of follow and you get like an extra dimension of movement. So that's what you really need to, the mind space you need to be in when you're trying to create these B-roll sequences is the movement and the mood and the feeling and the colors and the different things like that. Because if you think about all those different things, you're going to get the footage, and when you go over here to edit on the computer, it's not going to take you like a long time because it's just going to happen. You know what I mean? So anyway, without further ado, we're just going to go and I'm going to show you how I got the 2 shots that I did. I'm not going to go into great detail. You're going to see it, and then we'll jump over to the computer and we'll kind of put everything together and see how it comes out. Right here, this is the remote control for that, and basically the settings just shows video shoot, time lapse, and the settings. And I'm just going to set it on video shot, and I'm going to put it in manual mode, and it just shows the speed, the direction, and then it shows the manual mode. So I have it set on 49%, so it's fairly slow. I'm going to show you kind of how fast and slow that is going to be. So it's actually pretty slow. The reason I'm shooting this slow is because I'm going to shoot in 30 frames per second. So I need the clip to be a little bit slower so I can speed ramp it up, because I'm going to shoot in 4K. And if I shoot in slow motion, I will have to go faster, but I will have to shoot in a higher frame rate. So I have to shoot in 1080p, you know, at 60 frames per second. Then I could slow it, I could speed ramp it. But for the sake of being in 4K, I just move it at a glacial pace. All right, so once I have that set up, I'm going to show you, I'm gonna put the camera on here, and then I'm going to show you kind of what we're shooting. I'm gonna turn the lights off so you kind of get the ambiance of what I'm trying to do. So right now I'm going to be shooting with my the Sony A6400 with the Sigma 50mm f-stop 1.8. Of course, you know, you've got a ball head here. The GVM, the slider comes with everything you need, so you don't need to do anything with that. It does come with 1 battery, so you will have to get an additional battery for that. And I'm going to do a video about the slider, the lights, the gimbal. I'm going to do a video about each one of these things separately. I just want to show you kind of the end result, and then we'll go backwards how we got there. So I have the camera set up now. I'm going to turn it on. All right, so I have the camera on. So the way this slider works is you can actually make it where it'll pan either left or right, or it can go straight forward. So I got it going straight forward because I'm going to do a shot where we're going straight towards this gimbal here. All right, so I've got the gimbal in my sight here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the whole picture of what I've got. This room is very dark, so that's the ambiance that I want. So right now I've got the Philips Hue lights on the back wall of my little office here. You can see them. So I've got 3 Philips Hue lights back there. It's got 3 different colors on it. You can change the color really to whatever you want it to be. And then I've also got, if you look up at the ceiling, I've got 2 RGB lights that kind of light the back wall back there. The Weeble Lab, which is there. So I do have it sitting on just like a little cheap dinner table. And then I put a piece of plexiglass on there. And I put the piece of plexiglass on there so it looks like it's sitting on like a piece of glass. And you'll be able to see that in the end result, but it gives it a really cool effect. So let's go back to the slider, and I'll just basically show you what the slider looks like while it's moving. So let's go ahead and let's move the slider forward. So as you can see, the slider is moving forward towards the gimbal, and this basically is like a pull-in shot. So this shot is really good because You can start with it in focus and kind of pull out, so you can get a shot where it looks like you're ramping into focus, or you can ramp out of focus. So I've got my camera right now set on to autofocus, so it's going to always keep the gimbal in focus while I'm doing this. All right, so right now I got the camera and the slider set up kind of across each other, and I've got the product way over here. So now you can see I've added some lightsabers. That's what I call them, the RGB light sticks, and they just add like a different contrast to the picture because you got all the different colors around the room, and then you also have these lights. Now add like a really cool light ray effect to those. So if I zoom in, you can kind of see what I'm talking about with the two different colors. And like I said, I'll leave a link to these in the description section below. So right now we're just going to do like a slide across shot. So as you can see, our slider is just moving, is panning from left to right, or from right to left right now, but I'll go from right to left, and then I'll also go back from left to right, and then I'll have two very different shots. Now, the cool thing that I like about this motorized slider is that you can actually set it to where it'll pan and it also will rotate at the same time. They do have some ones that are more expensive that you can hook up to your phone and do this without actually moving the slider. But this was kind of a budget. This was a budget thing. So I'm going to show you me setting this up. All right, so to edit this, I always have to remember how it goes. Okay, so the way I'm gonna set this shot up is I'm gonna start it on the rightmost side. I'm gonna get the gimbal directly in the center, and then I've got the slider to where it will actually rotate clockwise, and as it rotates clockwise, it's gonna keep the gimbal in the center of the frame, but it's also gonna show like some different movement. So let's look and see how that looks. Now, as you can see, as the slider is getting over to the leftmost part of the room, it's actually turning back towards the product. So I'm going to pull it back, and it's going to keep it right in the frame. I always go forward and backwards. That way you do have extra shots, and you'll see that with the finished product, it's just essentially going to be the same exact shot, or the same shots used over and over again. I'm just going to move them different ways and add some interest. One thing I did want to show you is that when you're setting up these kind of product shots, you want to make sure that you have multiple things in the shot that you can't see, because every little piece of it kind of adds visual interest. So like, you can see like a plant in the background. You can also see my desk in the background. Sometimes I have my light on my the TJ. Sometimes I have my monitor on, so you can see that. But there's multiple things in the shot, not just the actual product. And like I was talking about, having this plexiglass on the bottom, it kind of adds another dimension, because you can see how the light kind of strobes all the way down. It looks like lights at the bottom and at the top. So it's going to give it a really cool effect. So I am shooting with the Sony A6400, and the Sony cameras do really good with low light situations. This is what I consider a low light situation because it's not very bright in here, but it looks very good with the end product. Again, I'm going to show you the slider here. All right, so this is the actual slider that I use. It is a GVM Motorized Slider, and I will leave links to this stuff in the description section below. And I've got them kind of set up janky. I've got them set up on two of these little tables, as you can see, and then I have this right here set up on the same type of table. So when you're setting up your shots, just try to be creative. Think outside the box. You don't always have to do the same thing that other people do, but you can recreate people looks. I got this inspiration from iphonedo page. I leave a link to his page because he has some really cool tech videos or camera videos, and I got this idea from him. All right, that is going to be it for today, guys. If you like these types of videos, please like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Also, hit that bell icon so you can get notifications whenever I release new videos. I am going to release a video about each one of these elements. I'm going to start working on it tomorrow. So sometime next week, you'll have videos about each one of these elements, the cost, how I set them up, and different things like that. And I will see you guys on the next one.